Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me this edition of Leak Project. I have a quote from a song that just came into my headphones here that I'd like to go ahead and read to you, and it pertains to this podcast. You got nowhere to run. You got nowhere to hide. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you down. Great White, I'm going to get you down. Don't you love the 80s, ladies and gentlemen? 80s rock. It doesn't get any better. Well, yeah, it does, but still. The 80s has its own persona. And the hair is literally standing up on my arms right now, thinking about that song. Sometimes the universe just talks to you in strange ways. Now, this zombie fungus that has been discovered in South America, there's multiple zombie fungus that I'm going to share with you today, folks. There's two different ones that I want to share with you in particular. This one at first that I'm going to share with you is called Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. Ha! I think I said it right. I certainly hope so, because I listened to that 30 different times before I said it. And try saying that really fast and then backwards. What is it? Well, it is a zombie fungus, literally. It's a zombie fungus, and it takes over the hosts. And then, I've talked to you guys about this before. This is the stuff that literally, let me just read it to you real quick. It's an insect fungus. It was discovered by British naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace all the way back in 1859. What I'd like to know is, have they weaponized this fungus? Most likely they have. Who knows if they're spraying it in the chemtrails, the stratospheric aerosol injections. They're like, oh, it's lithium for the masses. It's good for you to be a zombie. Well, let me read to you what this stuff does. It's referred to as the zombie fungus. It infects ants. And then what it does is it changes the behavioral patterns of the insects. It will have that insect actually leave its tribe, leave its nest, and then it will find a specific location where temperature, humidity is prime for the fungus to grow. It will then use its mandibles to affix itself to a major vein underneath a leaf where it will stay until it dies. Now, the process leading to death usually takes about 4 to 10 days. And it also includes a reproductive stage where fruiting bodies grow from the ant's head. And then it ruptures and releases the fungus spores. O. unilateralis. This stuff is nasty. Another thing that's interesting is it can limit its impact on ant populations, so it'll pick the prime hosts. Now, it also has what's called a secondary metabolism, which is among other reasons for the production of substances active. Now, they're saying that they're trying to take this in labs and use it for antiviral purposes. Okay? Which maybe they are. One thing that I do find interesting, though, is how easy it would be to manipulate this just a little bit and then spread it via aerosol injections. And could you imagine people are already just 2 steps away from being zombies right now. Like, there's literally zombies at the grocery store when I go there. They're like, diet soda, genetically modified corn, extra glyphosate. Oh, look, I can get a flu vaccine and get 10% off my next purchase. They're freaking zombies already. This stuff will take it to the next level, though. This stuff, imagine them spraying this stuff in stratospheric aerosol injections, a.k.a. chemtrails, just to test it out. Let's see what will happen today. They have been caught spraying genetically modified E. coli in the atmosphere, folks. AZ Voice just sent me an excerpt when NASA was discussing how they're going to launch balloons out into the stratosphere to give youngins an idea on how cool it would be to be an astronomer in the future, give them a glimpse of what's out there. And guess what? They have antibacteria. They have like an antibacteria spray on the balloon. They're like, yeah, we know there's genetically modified E. coli in the atmosphere, so when we go out there, we're going to make sure that this balloon's protected. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Do you guys remember a few years ago when there was it It was like the year of tornadoes. It seems like every year they pick a different topic. They're like, okay, this year we want it to be year of earthquakes. This year, and I'm talking about the mainstream media, how they kind of push it in the news. This year it's going to be the swine flu scare. Next year it's going to be an earthquake scare. Next year it's going to be a volcano scare. Well, do you remember several years ago when it was the tornado season? And I'll bet you many of these were manipulated via weather manipulation, which we've known about since the 90s. I mean, there was the white papers released via government that talked about weather manipulation and how it's outlawed internationally. But it's okay to do here at home. Yet it's being done all over the world, so maybe they've already agreed on it. Maybe these different countries that are doing it as well, you know, they're using their own stuff. Or maybe they just said, screw the treaty, we're going to do what we want to do, which is most likely the case. What if do you guys remember several years ago when there was those nasty tornadoes going on and several people or several news sources were coming out, multiple news sources were coming out saying, yeah, people were dying from fungus that was in the tornadoes? You think they were beta testing? I felt my gut was telling me they were beta testing those areas for military applications for future generations of warfare. The levels are so advanced right now. You put 1 million people in one place to go, you know, as an army, and then you just cause a tornado in that area via some type of weather manipulation, or spread some fungus, some zombie fungus. You know, another thing that I want to talk to you guys about, which is just as scary almost just as scary. Still pretty darn, it's exciting. How about that? It's an opportunity. Let's not look at this as scary. Let's get into the toxoplasma, the dark side, link between parasite and suicide. Toxoplasma is from cat shit. The percentages of people that have been exposed that have toxoplasma in their brain is frightening. Now, what about this stuff being weaponized? What did the Egyptians know that we don't? Do you guys remember that Book of the Dead hieroglyph that I shared with you? One of the oldest ones found and discovered that showed a cat cutting the snake eating its tail. And I said, man, this is kind of freaky. That reminds me of an off switch. Is that cat destroying everlasting life? And somebody said, no, that cat is actually cutting the snake from eating its tail so that it could go to the next level. Certainly, I hope that's the case. Yet, when you start getting into toxoplasma and this parasite fungus that's like lodged in hundreds of millions, billions of people, some countries, they're saying that 90 or more % of people have mass amounts of toxoplasma in their body. What did the Egyptians know that we don't? What is the toxoplasma connection here? Now, a little bit of a, let's dive into some of these images here from microscopes, toxoplasma, what this stuff actually looks like. It doesn't look too exciting. It looks pretty nasty. What would be a better way to infect somebody than like, oh, here, man, here's a pet. Here you go. And then the whole time, that pet. Like, I remember when I used to live in the Northwest, the neighbor behind me was one of those cat people, like big-time cat people. He had hundreds of cats. It was disgusting. And he had bucket loads, like 5-gallon bucket loads, stacked on top of each other by the dozens in his backyard full of cat litter, used up cat litter. It was disgusting. And why do cute kitten videos get tens of millions of views? What is it with some people's infatuation? Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, cats can be cool. I get it. Yet, how far does this go? And let's take this to the next level. With most people, or with many people, being infected with this toxoplasma, or let's take it even further. Let's say they're infected with some type of genetically modified Ophiocordyceps unilateralis that infects the human genome, that affects the cerebral cortex or different parts of the brain in connection with the vibrational frequency patterns and the hi-fi, the Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, 5G, neurological transmitters that literally manipulate your nervous system and your mind and your body. How easy would it be for somebody in a laboratory to take this stuff right here, manipulate it a little bit, tweak it a little bit, and then sell it to the Department of Defense as the next lithium, the fungus that will keep everybody happy and docile. Meanwhile, you guys can go blow shit up, make billions of dollars, and cripple people, and make lots of money doing it. I certainly feel that defense is important. Absolutely. It is absolutely imperative to have a strong military. Yet, what is wrong with a picture when the military that's supposed to protect you has people controlling it that don't have your best interest at heart, that care about themselves, that care about the netherworld more than this world, that care more about the serpent archons and feeding the dark beast system than their own children? Is it because they're already infected by this twisted toxoplasma? Now, I'm also going to connect something, this fungus right here, you guys, to the archons, to the serpent archons that Thoth discusses. Hermes Trismegistus in later years discusses this as well. It's absolutely fascinating and frightening at the same time. Now, when you look at one of these images, I'm just going to click in here, you can see that little fruit bowl, that little fruit cyst that pops out of the head of that insect once it's lodged itself to die. It's the same thing, it's just at a lower vibrational level than some of these parasitic archons that feed longer and literally control their hosts. Literally, think about it, guys. Why is the world in so much trouble right now? Is it just greed? Is it just the lust of money? Or is there something more to it? Is money and greed tools used for certain agendas? Planet killers, you guys. Planet killers. Welcome to Earth. They like to do these little throw it in your face and warn you and see what you're going to do about it. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit of Falling Skies. I watched a few seasons of Falling Skies. I got real bored with it, but I did appreciate the different characters. And the Blues, the ones that came down to harvest the earth. And then you had the rebels. And then you had those that, even though most of the military got destroyed, there were still those rebel forces that made it. Now, I looked at that as real cheesy, and in real-life scenarios, the way that they played it out, it would be a lot different. Yet, I understood the underlying theme. The Blues were so impressed with the rebels that they actually gave them a chance just to see what they could do. It was like a game to them. And that's what they're doing to us right now, folks. They're watching us, they're observing us, they're studying us. I don't care if it's the Blues. I don't care if it's the whites or greens or yellows or grays. It doesn't matter. What does matter is what's going on right now. What are they doing to us? They are feeding off of destroying the organic consciousness. You know, another thing that I want to connect, I want to throw this out here real quick about the Anunnaki and the natives. If you look at the Native Americans as a whole, and when they drink alcohol, a lot of times they become a lot more aggressive. It's a lot more difficult on their bodies and nervous systems and mental abilities, and not mental capabilities, because they're not used to it. But then you look at a lot of people that are white, you know, that have less pigmentation in their skin or whatever. I mean, who cares what color your skin is? I'm just making a point here. That Caucasians can drink more, and usually it doesn't affect them as bad. Yeah, you've got people out there that drink, and anybody that drinks too much is going to get stupid. That's not my point. My point is, if you look at the cultures as a whole, and if you look at the Native Americans, alcohol does not fit nearly as good with their body types. And also, I feel that could have something to do with the Anunnaki manipulation of mankind. And the reason I say that is because you read these Sumerian texts, these cuneiform tablets, and they loved to drink, guys. They were always drinking and partying. They would get drunk, and then they would go create life forms and go space travel or, astral travel and stuff like that. That was their thing. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there before I forgot, just to add to the show here. Hopefully I wasn't going too far off base. But let's go back to the toxoplasma, the effects that it's having on the body, this possible weaponized fungus that could be in all of us right now. And they could change a couple of things. They could just twist and manipulate it a little bit to where people wouldn't go full-on zombie 100% and just lay down on the concrete until they died and then some fungus came out of their body or something like that. Here, this is, yeah, okay. Here is a picture of, obviously, stratospheric aerosol injections. So if they sprayed it in these injections, or if they mixed it in the fuel supply and stuff like that, and just peppered the galaxies or peppered the atmosphere with it. Here's an image of a cat, obviously. And what was the fascination, once again, what was the fascination with the Egyptians and these cats? It's very interesting. Here's another image. You can see what happens once the fungus takes over completely, and it's had an opportunity to pop out of the host's head. Can you envision these parasitic archons right now, like latched onto your brain, latched onto your head, and just all over you? Like, if you could see them, I'll bet you on some people, they've got so many parasites latched onto them that they're larger than houses. Like, literally, building-sized parasites latched onto them, just sucking their energy. But you can't see them. Because it's like a radio station. You've got all these different channels. You just have to tune into it. Your brain can tune into it. You're just not going to see it with the physical eyes that you have because of the light spectrum. Your physical eyes see 0.01% of the electromagnetic light spectrum. Then your brain filters out approximately 50% of that, give or take, depending on who you are. You think you're going to see these parasites sucking your life? Sucking on your soul? Literally like people suck down diet sodas on their lazy boy chairs and watch Naked and Dorky? I mean, who would want to go on that show anyway? Are you serious? You want to go? It's bizarre to me when you see these people that want just I guess a little bit of a different scene, right? Let's go on an island and be naked with somebody that we don't even know, and let's stay out there for a few weeks and just see what happens. No shoes, no underwear. And then you got camera crew following you around. I mean, I don't care how good a shape you're in. You could have like 3% body fat. There's still going to be times that you don't look good naked, okay? So it's just bizarre to me. But hey, everybody's different. Everybody's different. And gotta love it, you know. One thing that I do enjoy about the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, is all the rogue elements out here. Yes, it's full of zombies. Yes, it's full of stupidity. And it's also full of brilliance. There's those people out there, like many of you that listen to Lee Project, that are beacons of light and hope in a dim world. And if it wasn't for you guys, we would already be idiocracy. We would already full be zombies. If it wasn't for you people out there that were keeping balance, because it's bizarre how 10%, well, actually it's more like 1%. You know how you have the 1% elite? You call them elite because of the financial gains, I guess they have. Well, then you've got the 1% that are elite in spirit and mind and body. Like you guys. You guys are elite far above and beyond any physical empire of dirt. Just remember that. So anybody out there that thinks somebody is better than you because they've got millions or billions of dollars, and if you think that subconsciously, you need to let it go. Because you are so far and above them in mind and spirit. This is boot camp, folks. This is absolutely boot camp. And it's awesome at the same time. I'm having a blast. Are you guys special forces? Are you infantry? Are you, are you an analysis? What is your position on this rock right now? What are you doing? And what are you going to do if you see people literally like start to grow these fruit baskets out of their head and they start erupting like these? I mean, this is the kind of stuff you see in the TV shows and the movies because films know about this. The writers and the screenplays and the people that are working with the directors. A lot of times there's alphabet agencies and science groups and Department of Defense and corporate interests that work with movies. Somebody made a comment earlier today. They said, movies are just private interests. They're just in it for the money. Yes, money is very important. Money is the key. And also, while they're making millions and billions of dollars, they are indoctrinating the masses. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. They pepper both in there. And if you know how to look for the bad and use it to your advantage, then fantastic. So I just wonder, go watch the film Branded, ladies and gentlemen. Go watch the film Branded, and it will give you a good idea how these parasites, these giant soul suckers, could be latched onto you without you even knowing it. And let's take this further. What type of mediums do these soul suckers need? Well, negativity, blood sacrifice. Think about that for a minute. Blood sacrifice. Think about all the foods that you eat that are connected to darkness. Think about that hamburger that you're eating and the cow that it's from, and how the cow was most likely factory farmed, was walking around in its own shit until its death, listening to cows before it die. Or maybe you're eating a piece of a pork chop. Did you guys see that video? I've seen multiple videos where people will pour soda on a pork chop and worms and maggots come out half an hour later. And then I've brought that up to people, and people say, well, it's a good thing I cook them good, huh? Yeah, it sure is. Durr! I am really working on becoming a vegetarian, and I've actually cut down on my meat like 80%. So the meat that I do eat is mainly seafood, and I want it to be wild caught, not in some factory farm. You know, it's these factory farms that are literally harvest centers and energy points for these parasitic archons, for these vampiric entities that feed off of negativity. Then you have energies that feed off of positive vibes and good energy. It's a plethora of things that we don't see. I mean, there's so much out there, you guys, that we're not seeing and not tapping into. And then how do you do it? Well, vibrations. Everything breaks down into a vibration. So overlay that negative vibration with a good vibration. Good vibes, folks. Vibes are real. Absolutely. Some people can feel them more than others. I know people that I'm very close to that are in the medical industry, and they can feel the vibes of other people. And I know people that have had to get out of the medical industry because they can feel so much energy from other people, and they're constantly around people, you know, that are sick or whatever, that it latches onto them, and they just have to be in different situations. Some people are considered, okay, so people have different ways of thinking. You know, some people are more auditory, some people are more visual, some people are more kinesthetic. And there's usually a dominating force. When you can learn what your key aspects are, like let's say you're auditory. When you're thinking in your mind, usually you have auditory stuff come up instead of visual or kinesthetic. Like when you hear somebody say, I hear you, I hear that. Oh yeah, I definitely hear where you're going with that. Well, you can tell they're probably more auditory. If you hear somebody say stuff like, hey, I feel you, man. I totally feel that. That's totally cool. They're more kinesthetic. So when these parasitic entities learn how to like latch on to you and harvest your soul essence, that is your God-given right, your divine spark that you are gifted with every day is a present, folks. Think about that. It's a present because it's a gift. If the world is under complete control from these manipulative forces, which the Gnostics thought, which many people of ancient times wrote about, and many people that are part of mystery schools and secret societies know about this as well. How do we break out of this matrix when they're continuing to just blast the population with mind control stuff, or with weaponized fungus, or with frequency beams from satellite or radio towers, radar towers, 3G, 4G, 5G, etc.? When are they going to do 6G and just fry people immediately? You know, oh yeah, we've had enough people here. Hey, check out this new 6G system. It's the new Samsongion 1023. It will literally fry your brains in one phone call. I don't even like to use my cell phone. And if I do use my cell phone, I'm usually listening to headphones. I've got my headphones on. If you put your cell phone next to your ear, can't you feel the heat? It's like you're cooking your brain. And they love that stuff. They absolutely love it. So let's take a look at the zombie fungus in detail, the zombie ant. First, the infection, then the death grip, then the fungal growth, then the killing zone. It's a pretty quick process. And you can go buy the Zika virus freeze-dried online. Did you know that? Did you know you can buy the Zika virus freeze-dried online? And if you're doing it for nonprofit, you can buy it for less. Yeah. The reason I'm bringing that up is I wonder sometimes, why do the powers that be allow all of that stuff to be so readily available if it's so dangerous? And why hasn't somebody already gone crazy, full-blown terrorist, psychopath, and done something extremely stupid? Well, maybe it's because everybody is already under control, and if somebody gets to that point where they're going to do something like that, these supercomputers and algorithms and Wi-Fi signals will pick up on that and then just zap that person back down to a level 3, not a level 9 as far as the threat matrix, right? It'll just calm them back down, or give them an instant heart attack, or give them a stroke. Meanwhile, on Channel 5, you have knowledge. All right, here we go. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. This is from crystallinks.com, and I'm going to read to you some ancient wisdom of antiquity that is priceless, endless, timeless, that discusses what I have just shared with you folks. Far in the past, before Atlantis existed, men there were who delved into darkness using dark magic, calling up beings from the great deep below us. Forth came they into this cycle, formless were they of another vibration, existing unseen by the children of earthmen. Only through blood could they have formed being. Only through man could they live in the world. In ages past were they conquered by masters, driven below to the place whence they came. But some there were who remained hidden in spaces and plains unknown to man. Lived they in Atlantis as shadows, but at times they appeared among men, when the blood was offered, for they came, they to dwell among men. In the form of man, they amongst us, but only to sight were they as our men, serpent-headed when the glamour was lifted, but appearing to man as men among men. Crept they into the councils, taking forms that were like unto men, slain by their arts, the chiefs of the kingdoms, taking their form and ruling over man. Only by magic could they be discovered, only by sound could their faces be seen. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. But know ye, the masters were mighty in magic, able to lift the veil from the face of the serpent, able to send him back to his place. Came they to man and taught him the secret, the word that only a man can pronounce. Swift then they lifted the veil from the serpent and cast him forth from the place among men. Yet beware, the serpent still lieth in a place that is open at times to the world. Unseen they walk among thee, in places where the rites have been said. Against, as time passes onward, shall they take the resemblance of men. Called may they be by the master, who knows the white or the black, but only the white master may control and bind them while in the flesh. Seek not the kingdom of shadows, for evil will surely appear, for only the master of brightness shall conquer the shadow of fear. Know ye, O my brother, that great fear. Know ye, O my brother, that fear is an obstacle great. Be master of all in the brightness, The shadow will soon disappear. Hear ye and heed my wisdom. The voice of light is clear. Seek not the valley of shadow, and light will only appear. List ye, O man, to the depth of my wisdom. Speak I of knowledge hidden from man. Far have I been on my journey through space-time, even to the end of space of this cycle. Glimpsed the hounds of the barrier, lying in wait for he who would pass them. In that space where time exists not, faintly I sense the guardians of cycles. Move they only through angles. Free are they not of the curved dimensions. Strange and terrible are the hounds of the barrier. Follow they consciousness to the limits of space. Think not to escape by entering your body, for follow they fast the soul through angles. Only the circle will give you protection. Save from the claws of the dwellers in angles. Once in a time past, I approached the great barrier and saw on the shores where time exists not the formless forms of the hounds of the barrier. Hiding in the midst beyond time I found them, and they scenting me afar off, raised themselves and gave the great bell cry that could be heard from cycle to cycle and moved through space towards my soul. Fled I then fast before them, back from time's unthinkable end, but ever after me pursued they, moving in strange angles not known to man. On the gray shores of time-space's end, found I the hounds of the barrier, ravening for the soul who attempts the beyond. Fled I through circles, back to my body, fled and fast after me they followed. After me the devourers followed, seeking through angles to devour my soul. Know ye, man, that the soul who dares the barrier may be held in bondage by the hounds from beyond time, held till this cycle is completed and left behind. When the consciousness leaves, entered I my body, created the circles that know not angles, created the form that from my form was formed, made my body into a circle, and lost the pursuers in the circles of time. But even yet, when free from my body, cautious ever must I be, not to move through angles, else my soul may never be free. Know ye the hounds of the barrier move only through angles, and never through curves of space. Only by moving through curves can ye escape them. For in angles they will pursue thee. O man, heed ye my warning. Seek not to break open the gate to beyond. Few there are who have succeeded in passing the barrier to the greater light that shines beyond. For know ye ever the dwellers seek such souls to hold in their thrall. Listen, O man, and heed ye my warning. Seek ye to move not in angles but curves. And if while free from the body, thou hearest the sound like the bay of a hound, ringing clear and bell like through thy being, flee back to thy body through circles. Penetrate not the mist before. When thou hast entered the form thou hast dwelt in, use thou the cross and the circle combined. Open thy mouth and use thou the voice. Open thy mouth and use thou thy voice. Utter the word, and thou shalt be free. Only the one who of light has the fullest can hope to pass by the guards of the way, and then must he move through strange curves and angles that are formed in direction not known to man. List ye, O man, and heed ye my warning. Attempt not to pass the guards on the way. Rather should ye seek to gain of thine own light, and make thyself ready to pass on the way. Light is thine ultimate end, O my brother. Seek and find ever the light on the way. Woo, I feel better. Phew. That was awesome. That was awesome. Now, let's get into some more doom. Here we go. A little bit. Let's just sprinkle a little bit of doom. Not too much, just a little bit. It's kind of funny too, actually, I think. It's more hilarious than doom. Boom! Look at that. The evil Sith Lord from Return of the Jedi looks identical to the Pope. Are they twins? Are they clones? What's going on with that, folks? One thing that I find interesting is when you look at this image right here, it's that evil archetype that I think of. And I also think about how these serpents, these archons, latch onto people and latch onto bodies and change them, literally. Is that what happened here? Because they look very similar, you guys. I'm just saying. And once again, I'm going to leave the links to all of these pictures and images and articles in the video description box so you can see it for yourself. Check this one out. Boom!
I will suck your soul. Yes, kiss my finger, kiss my ring. Oh, yeah.
Now, any similarities there, folks? Think there's any similarities there? Just a little bit? Take a look at this one. This one's kind of spooky. This is clearly showing a giant pharaoh, and he's getting ready to sacrifice 3 humans. Now, these 3 humans, you've got a black one, a reddish one, and a white one, and an Asian. Actually, okay, let me repeat that. This carved relief created during the time of Ramses II shows a black, a reddish white, and an Asian representing the 3 races of Sham, Shem, Cham, Ham, and Ipat being sacrificed to the Egyptian god Ammon. Now there's another blood sacrifice. Sacrifice the little humans for the mighty giants. And then I want to give Freeman Fly props, because I think Freeman Fly was actually the guy that broke this story, where you've got Obama, looks very similar to Pharaoh Akhenaten, and then you can see his wife, Michelle, looks very similar to a pharaoh as well. So some people feel that they're clones, which they could be. They could be clones. And I think Obama once joked about that, and people took that and went crazy with it. Or went, I shouldn't say crazy, went and did some serious research into that, which is a very good thing. Could it be cloning? Could it be bloodlines? Or could it be these serpent archons that literally mold the being talked about in the Secret Book of John? Secret Book of John has the Anunnaki and the archons. And the mother demon of all that helped create man is, guess what? The mother of matter is a demon. The mother demon is the mother of matter, according to the Gnostics. So how far does this stuff go? I mean, with all the similarities and connection points, do we just turn away from it and say, oh, it's all just a conspiracy, we're just loons for thinking this way? Or do we continue to do the research, continue to dive into these rabbit holes that seem to be never-ending and intertwining back and forth, and obtain as much knowledge as we can and shift through the oats that have already gone through the horse? Here's another picture of Obama, President Obama. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Play that backwards. It's, thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan. Well, I don't think so. Look at this. Boom. The Christ. Mel Gibson's film, The Christ. The devil. Man, is that Obama? Sure does look like him. Now, I'm not saying that's Obama. I really doubt they got Obama to play that part. It's funny how Mel Gibson's interpretation of the devil, though, was somebody that looks like Obama. I think that's kind of funny. And let's don't forget about Michael Jackson. Let's don't forget about Mike and these ancient pharaohs. The similarities. Time travel, shape-shifting reptiles from Uranus and swamp gas combined. Or blood sacrifice archon serpents combined with zombie viruses and fungus and all this fun stuff that they're throwing in our face. Welcome to the New World Order, ladies and gentlemen. They love us so much that they tell us what they're going to do while they're doing it, before they're doing it, and after they're doing it, just to see what we're going to do. And then if somebody gets out of line too much, well, it doesn't matter to them because they can just shut you off. They can just tweak you a little bit, Oh, you're having a bad day. Oh, they'll pump up your adrenaline, your endorphins a little bit. Yeah, they'll tweak you just a little bit. You know that tree down the street that looks like a tree, but it's not really a tree. It's a giant cell phone frequency tower. Yeah, they're not using that to mess with you if you get out of line at all. That is strictly for the telephone, ladies and gentlemen. No conspiracy there. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Drink some more genetically modified E. coli feces. Eat some more genetically modified corn with glyphosate on it. Make sure to go to your doctor and get as many pharmaceutical drugs as he'll prescribe you. And I hope you know I'm being sarcastic. That's the opposite thing you want to do, in my opinion. Yet, what do I know? I'm just a measly human. Just a measly little human being, you know. I mean, I gotta worship these gods and these archetypes that are written about. Otherwise, I'm gonna go into the demon pit.
How dare you think for yourself? How dare you think that you're equal to the gods? How dare you think that you're equal to a pharaoh? How dare you, Rex? You're such a sinner. You're the Antichrist.
Do you bite the hands that feed you? Do you stay down on your knees? You will not assimilate me. Abracadabra. Boom! All right, guys. Thank you for being here with me this edition of Leak Project. I'm ready to go. I've got more on the way today. I will keep them coming. The show that never ends. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you, mods, for keeping an eye on the chat room. I appreciate everybody that joined me for this live show. I did not have a chance to even look at the comment section, so hopefully it didn't get too crazy in there. And I want to say thank you for everybody that's became a premium member at Leak Project. I want to say thank you for everybody that's given me a gem of knowledge in the comment section. I want to say thank you to everybody that shared these podcasts. I want to say thank you to everybody that has done something to help society. Thank you, everybody that is here to help. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We can do it, guys. We can save this planet. I'm telling you, we can. It's not too late. If they've convinced you of that, then you've already lost. Keep the faith. And I know sometimes I give people a hard time about having faith. It's, do you use faith as a crutch, or do you use faith as something to benefit your beliefs? Because even though faith is absence of knowledge, absence of information, it's also a genuine energy that is absolutely imperative. It will take you to the next level. There's multi-levels, there's multiple facets to faith. I don't like it when people use faith as a crutch and do not do research. That is the problem when you're lazy in connection with faith. So instead of just being a repeater, be a researcher, and then you can repeat the research. So anyway, starting to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. Be the change you want to see, folks. LeakProject.com. It's referred to as the zombie fungus. It infects ants, and then what it does is it changes the behavioral patterns of the insects. It will have that insect actually leave its tribe, leave its nest, and then it will find a specific location where temperature, humidity is prime for the fungus to grow. It will then use its mandibles to affix itself to a major vein underneath a leaf where it will stay until it dies. Now, the process leading to death usually takes about 4 to 10 days. And it also includes a reproductive stage where fruiting bodies grow from the ant's head. And then it ruptures and releases the fungus spores. Oh, unilateralis. This stuff is nasty. One at first that I'm going to share with you is called Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. Haha, I think I said it right. I certainly hope so, because I listened to that 30 different times before I said it. And try saying that really fast and then backwards. What is it? Well, it is a zombie fungus, literally. It's a zombie fungus, and it takes over the hosts. And then, I've talked to you guys about this before. This is the stuff that literally, let me just read it to you real quick. It's an insect fungus It was discovered by British naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace all the way back in 1859. What I'd like to know is, have they weaponized this fungus? Most likely they have. Who knows if they're spraying it in the chemtrails, the stratospheric aerosol injections. They're like, oh, it's lithium for the masses. It's good for you to be a zombie. Well, let me read to you what this stuff does. Another thing that's interesting is it can limit its impact on ant populations, so it'll pick the prime hosts. Now, it also has what's called a secondary metabolism, which is, among other reasons, for the production of substances active. Now, they're saying that they're trying to take this in labs and use it for antiviral purposes. Okay? Which maybe they are. One thing that I do find interesting, though, is how easy it would be to manipulate this just a little bit and then spread it via aerosol injections. And could you imagine a bunch? I mean, people are already just 2 steps away from being zombies right now. Like, there's literally zombies at the grocery store when I go there. They're like, diet soda, genetically modified corn, extra. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me this edition of Leak Project. I have a quote from a song that just came into my headphones here that I'd like to go ahead and read to you, and it pertains to this podcast. You got nowhere to run. You got nowhere to hide. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you down. Great White, I'm going to get you down. Don't you love the 80s, ladies and gentlemen? 80s rock, it doesn't get any better. Well, yeah, it does, but still. The 80s has its own persona. And the hair is literally standing up on my arms right now, thinking about that song. Sometimes the universe just talks to you in strange ways. Now, this zombie fungus that has been discovered in South America, there's multiple zombie fungus that I'm going to share with you today, folks. There's 2 different ones that I want to share with you in particular. This glyphosate. Oh, look, I can get a flu vaccine and get 10% off my next purchase. They're freaking zombies already. This stuff will take it to the next level, though. This stuff, imagine them spraying this stuff in stratospheric aerosol injections, a.k.a. chemtrails, just to test it out. Let's see what will happen today. They have been caught spraying genetically modified E. coli in the atmosphere, folks. AZ Voice just sent me an excerpt when NASA was discussing how they're going to launch balloons out into the stratosphere to give youngins an idea on how cool it would be to be an astronomer in the future, give them a glimpse of what's out there. And guess what? They have antibacteria. They have like an antibacteria spray on the balloon. They're like, yeah, we know there's genetically modified E.